You know what's wild? Every single time you get angry at your boss, frustrated with that toxic person in your life, or stressed about a situation you can't control, you're not solving the problem, you're feeding it. You're literally charging the battery of the exact thing you're trying to destroy. Let me tell you something that's going to shift everything. Right now, as you're watching this, you are living inside a quantum field, a field that responds not to your words, not to your willpower, but to the frequency of your energy. And here's what nobody tells you. There are invisible structures in this field, structures built from the thoughts and emotions of millions of people thinking the same way. We call them pendulums. These pendulums, they're energy vampires, and they have one job: to keep you reacting, to keep you fighting, to keep you exhausted. And think about it. That person who always pushes your buttons, the work situation that drains you every single day, the anxiety that follows you like a shadow. You've been told to fight harder, set boundaries, stand your ground. But here's the kicker. The more you fight, the stronger it gets. The more you resist, the more it persists. I spent years caught in this trap, reacting to every provocation, fighting battles I thought I had to win, exhausted, until I discovered something stunning from reality transurfing. A principle so simple yet so revolutionary that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the truth. Pendulums don't have power. They're just empty structures. But the moment you react, the moment you give them your anger, your fear, your attention, you become the power source. You are the battery. And the pendulum, it feeds. But what if I told you there are 3 techniques, 3 precise methods that can extinguish any pendulum instantly? Methods so elegant that they turn the game completely around. Not fighting, not running, but something else entirely. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. We're going to explore script breaking, the art of doing the one thing the pendulum never expects. Aikido response, using the pendulum's own energy against itself. And positive visualization, a technique so counterintuitive that it sounds impossible until you try it. These aren't theories. These are field-tested strategies from reality transurfing that work on the quantum level. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to stop feeding the pendulums in your life and start reclaiming your energy. So here's my question for you. Are you ready to stop being the power source? Are you ready to learn how to become invisible to the very things that drain you? Let's go deeper. Before we dive into the techniques, you need to understand what you're actually dealing with. Because most people think pendulums are just difficult people or bad situations. They're not. They're far more sophisticated than that. Here's what a pendulum actually is. It's an energy information structure created when multiple people think and feel the same way about something. Office politics. That's a pendulum. Family drama? Pendulum. Social media outrage? Massive pendulum. These structures don't have consciousness, but they have something more dangerous: momentum. And here's where it gets interesting. Pendulums need energy to exist. They can't generate it themselves. So what do? They provoke you. They trigger your emotions. They make you react. Because every time you react with anger, fear, frustration, or anxiety, you're sending a pulse of energy directly into the pendulum, and it grows stronger. Think of it like this. Imagine a radio tower that only stays active when people tune into its frequency. The moment you stop tuning in, the tower goes silent. Pendulums work the same way. They broadcast on specific emotional frequencies: anger, fear, stress, outrage. When you match that frequency with your reaction, you lock in. You become a contributor, a power source. But here's the part nobody talks about. The pendulum doesn't care about you. It doesn't care if you win or lose your argument. It doesn't care if you're right or wrong. It only cares about one thing: that you stay engaged, that you keep reacting. So what happens when you try to fight a pendulum? You think you're solving the problem, but you're actually making it worse. Every aggressive confrontation, every anxious thought loop, every stressed out conversation, it's all fuel. The quantum field registers your emotional frequency and amplifies the exact situation you're trying to escape. This is the hidden law most people never learn. What you resist, you strengthen. What you fight, you feed. What you avoid in fear, you invite to chase you. I know this sounds counterintuitive. Your whole life you've been told to stand up for yourself, to fight back, to not let people walk over you, and I'm not saying those instincts are wrong, I'm saying they're incomplete because there's a third option: not fighting, not fleeing, but rendering yourself invisible to the pendulum's radar, changing your frequency so dramatically that the pendulum can't find you anymore, and that's exactly what these three techniques do. So here's where most people get stuck. They recognize the pendulum, they see the pattern, but they don't know how to break free without feeling like they're giving up or being weak. Ready to see how the strongest people actually operate? Let's start with the most radical technique first. Let me tell you a story that sounds absolutely insane until you understand the quantum mechanics behind it. There's a young man walking home late at night. He turns a corner and suddenly he's face to face with a gang. 7 guys, blocking his path. The leader steps forward. The threat is obvious. This is about to go very, very badly. Now, here's what the pendulum expects: fear, submission, maybe an attempt to run, maybe a desperate fight. The pendulum has a script, and as long as this young man follows the script, reacts the way he's supposed to react, the pendulum wins. He becomes the victim in a story the pendulum has played out 1,000 times, but this young man had learned something. He'd learned about script breaking. So instead of freezing in fear, instead of running, instead of begging, he does something absolutely unexpected. He walks straight toward the gang leader, gets right in his face, and asks with genuine curiosity, "Should I break your nose or your jaw?" Then, and this is the part that changes everything, he grabs the leader's ear hard and waits. The gang, they scattered, every single one of them. Why? Because the script broke. The pendulum expected fear, it got aggression, it expected submission, it got dominance. The frequency didn't match, the energy collapsed. Here's what you need to understand. Pendulums operate on predictable scripts. Boss yells, you get defensive. Toxic person criticizes, you get hurt. Stressful situation appears, you panic. These are the expected responses, and as long as you play along, the pendulum has you locked in its frequency. Script breaking is the art of doing the one thing the pendulum never anticipates. Not the opposite, not the reaction, but something so off-script that the pendulum can't process it. Let me be clear. I'm not telling you to confront dangerous people physically. That's not the point. The point is the principle. When you refuse to give the pendulum the energy it expects, when you respond from a completely different frequency, the pendulum loses its grip. Think about the last time someone tried to provoke you. They wanted anger. What if you gave them curiosity? They wanted defensiveness. What if you gave them laughter? They wanted you to engage in the drama. What if you gave them silence? Not avoidant silence, but powerful, amused silence. This is what most people don't realize. The strongest response isn't the loudest, it's the one that breaks the pattern. So here's my question for you. Where in your life are you following a script that's draining you? What pendulum has you playing a role you never auditioned for? Because once you see the script, you can break it. And when you break it, something remarkable happens. The pendulum extinguishes, not because you fought it, but because you stopped feeding it. Ready for the second technique? This one's even more elegant. Here's the thing about pendulums. They need you to match their frequency. Anger requires anger. Stress requires stress. Drama requires drama. But what happens when you respond with a completely inappropriate emotion? This is where Aikido response comes in. And it's named after the martial art for a very specific reason. In Aikido, you never meet force with force. When someone throws a punch, you don't block it, you redirect it. You use their momentum against them, you become like water. Fluid, untouchable. The attacker exhausts themselves against nothing. The same principle applies to pendulums. When someone attacks you with anger, the expected response is anger back. That creates resonance. That's two people feeding the same pendulum. But what if you respond with something else entirely? Let me give you the formula. Fear, meet it with confidence. Sadness, meet it with enthusiasm. Anger, meet it with indifference. Irritation, meet it with joy. I know what you're thinking. That sounds fake. That sounds like I'm suppressing my real feelings. And you're right to question it. But here's what you're missing. This isn't about suppression. This is about conscious frequency selection. Here's a practical example. You're on a crowded bus. People are pushing. It's hot. It's uncomfortable. The pendulum of collective irritation is strong. Everyone's matching the frequency. Annoyance, frustration, stress. But what if you did something different? What if you imagined you're at a penguin market in Antarctica? Everyone around you isn't a rude commuter. They're waddling, clumsy, adorable penguins bustling around, bumping into each other, completely unaware of their own charm. Suddenly, the irritation transforms, not into suppression, into genuine amusement. You're not resonating with the pendulum anymore. You're on a different frequency entirely. And here's what happens. The people around you start to calm down too, because you're not adding to the field. You're changing it. This is the power of the Aikido response. You don't fight the pendulum. You don't absorb its energy. You transmute it. Most people spend their entire lives matching frequencies. Someone's angry, they get angry back. Someone's stressed, they absorb that stress. Someone's critical, they become defensive. It's automatic, it's unconscious, it's exhausting. But the moment you learn to select your frequency consciously, to respond with an emotion that creates dissonance rather than resonance, the pendulum can't hold you. It's like trying to catch smoke. And the best part? This doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're allowing yourself to be disrespected. It means you're so powerful that other people's chaos can't disturb your center. So here's what I want you to do. Think of one person or situation that consistently drains you. Now ask yourself, what frequency are they broadcasting, and what completely inappropriate frequency could you respond with instead? Because that's where your power lives. Not in the reaction, but in the conscious choice. Shall we go even deeper? Because the third technique is the one that changes everything. Before we get to the third technique, we need to pause here. Because I know what's happening right now. You're hearing these ideas and part of you is thinking, this makes sense. But another part of you is resisting. And that resistance, it's important. Let's talk about it. Here's what I've discovered working with thousands of people on this material. There are 3 psychological barriers that stop people from actually using these techniques even when they know they work. The first barrier is addiction to drama. And I'm not saying that to be provocative. Your nervous system is literally addicted to the emotional intensity that pendulums provide. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly deeply bored? Not peaceful. Bored. For most people, that's terrifying. Because we've become dependent on the emotional roller coaster. Drama gives you a sense of aliveness. It gives you something to react to, something to fight against, something to talk about. And when you eliminate pendulums from your life, there's this moment, this uncomfortable moment where everything feels flat, empty, meaningless. That's the suspended state, and it's temporary. But most people panic and jump right back into a pendulum just to feel something again. The second barrier is identity attachment. You've built an identity around your reactions. I'm someone who stands up for myself. I'm someone who doesn't take disrespect. I'm passionate. These identities feel true, they feel like you. But here's the uncomfortable truth. They're not you. They're just patterns the pendulum installed. And when I suggest you stop reacting, stop fighting, stop engaging, it feels like I'm asking you to lose yourself to become someone weak, someone passive, someone who doesn't matter. But that's the pendulum talking. Your real self, your essential self, doesn't need to prove anything. Doesn't need to fight every battle, doesn't need to be seen reacting to every provocation. The third barrier is the fear of powerlessness. You think, if I don't react, they'll think I'm weak. If I don't fight back, they win. If I let it go, I'm giving up. And here's where most people get it completely backwards. Not reacting isn't weakness. It's the ultimate power move. Because the person who controls their own frequency, who doesn't get pulled into other people's chaos, that person has more power than anyone in the room. Think about the people you truly respect, the ones with real gravitas, real presence, They're not the loudest, they're not the ones winning every argument, they're the ones who remain centered no matter what's happening around them. That's what we're building toward. So here's my question for you. Which barrier is strongest for you? Is it the addiction to intensity, the fear of losing yourself, or the belief that not reacting means you're powerless? Drop one word in the comments, just one word that captures where you are right now. Because acknowledging the barrier is the first step to crossing it. And once you cross it, everything changes. Ready for the most powerful technique of all? Now we get to the technique that sounds completely backwards until you experience it. This is positive visualization, and it's going to challenge everything you think you know about dealing with difficult people. Here's the setup. Someone is attacking you. Your boss is yelling. A toxic person is criticizing you. A situation is stressing you out. The pendulum is strong. The energy is aggressive. And every instinct in your body is saying, defend yourself, fight back, shut this down. But here's what you don't see: that person attacking you. They're not the enemy. They're caught in the pendulum too. And whatever they're throwing at you, anger, criticism, stress, it's not coming from strength. It's coming from lack. Let me explain. Every difficult behavior comes from one of three core needs: health, confidence, peace of mind. When someone is aggressive, they lack confidence. When someone is anxious, they lack peace. When someone is controlling, they lack security. And here's where positive visualization becomes a quantum intervention. Instead of fighting the person, instead of defending yourself, you're going to do something radical. You're going to visualize them having what they need. Let me give you the exact process. Your boss walks into your office. Angry, critical, tearing apart your work. The pendulum is high, your heart rate is spiking. You want to defend yourself. Stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, what does this person really need? Maybe he's exhausted, burnt out, pressured from above. So in your mind, right there in that moment, you visualize him relaxed, sitting by a fire, fishing, drinking a beer with friends, laughing at ease. You see him with the peace he's desperately lacking. Or maybe he's insecure, afraid of failure, overcompensating with aggression. So you visualize him confident, skiing down a mountain like a pro, driving a sports car, the center of attention, admired, secure. Or maybe he's sick, stressed to the point of physical pain. So you visualize him healthy, swimming, cycling, energized, vibrant. Here's what happens next, and this is where it gets quantum. Your thought, your visualization, emits a specific frequency of energy. That energy enters the field, and because the field seeks balance, because pendulums seek equilibrium, your positive frequency immediately begins to neutralize the negative one. Within seconds, sometimes instantly, you'll see the shift. The aggression softens. The criticism loses its edge. The person becomes confused because they came in expecting resistance, and instead they're meeting something else. Something that doesn't feed the pendulum. Something that calms it. I know this sounds impossible. I know it sounds like wishful thinking or spiritual bypassing, but here's the thing. This isn't theory. This is quantum mechanics. Thoughts are energy. Energy affects energy. When you change your frequency, you change the field. Let me give you a practical application. You need a signature from a bureaucrat, someone known for being difficult, uncooperative. Everyone complains about them. The pendulum is strong. Before you walk into their office, you spend 30 seconds visualizing them, not as the difficult bureaucrat, but as someone who finally feels appreciated, recognized, needed. You see them smiling, helping people, being thanked, feeling important. Then you walk in, and I promise you, something will shift. They'll be easier, more cooperative, almost friendly. Why? Because you fed them something they rarely get, positive energy, and in that moment the pendulum lost its grip. This technique costs you almost nothing. Just a few seconds of mental energy. But what you get back is extraordinary. Not only does the situation resolve more easily, but the energy the pendulum was stealing from you, it returns, amplified. Because here's the law. When you extinguish a pendulum with positive energy, the energy that pendulum was holding comes back to you. You become stronger, clearer, more powerful. So here's your practice right now. Think of someone who drains you. Got them? Now close your eyes for 5 seconds and visualize them having what they need. Health, confidence, peace. See them at ease. Feel that shift? That's you taking your power back. Shall we talk about how to integrate all three techniques, because this is where most people stumble? Here's where the rubber meets the road. You now know three techniques: script breaking, Aikido response, positive visualization. But knowing isn't the same as doing, and doing once isn't the same as mastering. So let's talk about integration, about how these techniques work together in real-world situations. Because pendulums don't come with labels. They don't announce themselves. They're sneaky, adaptive. And if you're not paying attention, you'll be caught before you realize it. Here's the framework. When you encounter a pendulum situation, you have three options. You can break the script, you can use an inappropriate response, or you can visualize positively. The question is, which one do you choose? Here's my answer. It depends on the intensity of the pendulum and your own state of coherence. If the pendulum is aggressive and trying to pull you into a dramatic confrontation, script breaking. Do something so unexpected that the pendulum can't process it. Not aggression, not submission, something lateral, something weird, something that makes the pendulum glitch. If the pendulum is persistent but not directly confrontational, Aikido response. Match their energy with a completely different frequency. They're stressed, you're calm. They're angry, you're amused. They're critical, you're curious. Create dissonance. Let them exhaust themselves against your fluidity. If the pendulum is chronic and tied to a specific person or situation you can't avoid, positive visualization. Feed them what they need, not what they're asking for, what they actually need. This one takes the most energy up front, but it pays the biggest dividends long term. Now let's talk about common mistakes. Because I've seen people try these techniques and fail, not because the techniques don't work, but because they missed something critical. Mistake number one, trying to use these techniques while you're already triggered. If you're in the middle of a full emotional reaction, you don't have the coherence to execute any of these properly. You need to catch the pendulum early, the moment you feel the pull, before it hooks you. That means developing what I call pendulum awareness. You start to notice the sensation of being pulled, the tightness in your chest, the quickening of your thoughts, the urge to react. That's the moment, that's when you choose your technique. Mistake number two, using these techniques to manipulate outcomes. This isn't about control. It's not about winning. If you're using positive visualization to get someone to do what you want, you're still operating from the pendulum's frequency. You're just being sneaky about it. These techniques work when your intention is freedom, not victory, not domination, freedom. When you genuinely want to be free from the pendulum's grip, not to defeat it, not to prove something, that's when the techniques become effortless. Mistake number three, expecting immediate perfection. You're going to mess this up a lot. You're going to forget. You're going to get pulled in. You're going to react the old way. That's normal. That's part of the process. The key is developing the habit of remembering. Every time you catch yourself after the fact, oh, I just fed that pendulum. You're building awareness, and awareness is the foundation of mastery. Here's what integration actually looks like. You're in a meeting. Someone criticizes your work. You feel the pull. The old pattern wants to activate. Defensiveness, justification, counterattack. But you pause just for a second, you remember, and you choose. Maybe you break the script. You know what? You're absolutely right. Let's scrap the whole thing and start from scratch. Watch them backpedal. Maybe you use Aikido. I love how passionate you are about this project. Tell me more about your vision. You redirect their energy, or maybe you visualize you see them confident, secure, not needing to tear others down to feel important, and you watch their tone soften. The technique doesn't matter as much as the awareness, the pause, the conscious choice. That's what separates someone who's caught in pendulums from someone who's free. So here's what I want you to practice this week. Just one thing: pendulum awareness. Notice when you feel the pull. You don't have to do anything about it yet, just notice. Name it. There's a pendulum trying to hook me. Because once you can see it, you can't be controlled by it. And that's where real transformation begins. Ready to see what happens when you master this? Let's talk about the transformation that's waiting for you. Let me tell you what happens when you actually start living this way. When you stop feeding pendulums and start consciously choosing your frequency. Because this isn't just about avoiding drama, this is about complete energetic transformation. Here's the shift. Right now, if you're like most people, you're operating as a reactive system. Something happens, you react. Someone provokes you, you respond. A situation stresses you, you match its frequency. You're not choosing, you're being played. But when you master these three techniques, something profound happens. You stop being an instrument and become a composer. You stop reacting to the field and start shaping it. Think about what that means. Every pendulum you extinguish doesn't just disappear. The energy it was holding, the energy it was stealing from you and everyone caught in it, that energy returns to you. Amplified, clarified, purified, you become more energized, more clear-headed, more present, because you're not hemorrhaging life force into endless conflicts and dramas. You're not spending your days fighting battles that don't serve you. Here's what you'll notice first. Situations that used to consume hours of your mental energy. Replaying conversations, planning confrontations, stewing in resentment, they start to dissolve. Not because you're avoiding them, but because they can't find you. You're on a different frequency. The toxic person at work, still toxic. But suddenly, inexplicably, they're not targeting you anymore. They've found someone else. Someone still resonating with that pendulum. You've gone invisible. The family drama that used to pull you in every holiday, still happening. But you're there in body while remaining completely untouched in spirit. You watch, you observe, you engage when it serves you. But you don't get hooked. The stress and anxiety that used to follow you like a shadow, it starts to lift, not because your circumstances changed, but because you stopped identifying with the problems. You stopped making them mean something about you. And here's where it gets really interesting. Other people start to notice, not consciously. They can't articulate what's different about you, but they feel it. You become more magnetic, more grounded, more trustworthy. Why? Because people are unconsciously drawn to those who aren't controlled by pendulums. They don't want to admit it. Hell, they don't even realize it, but they're exhausted too. They're tired of the drama, and when they meet someone who's genuinely free, they want to be around that energy. Let me consolidate the 7 core insights that make this transformation possible. 1. What you resist, you empower. What you ignore consciously vanishes unconsciously. 2. You don't control situations, but you control your frequency 100%, and your frequency determines what you attract. 3. Being right is expensive. Being flexible is free. You can be right and exhausted or adaptable and energized, your choice. 4. True power isn't in defeating others. It's in rendering yourself invisible to conflicts that don't serve you. 5. You can't win the old game, but you can create a new game with new rules where you're the only player. 6. Energy goes where attention flows. Results follow. You're charging something with your attention right now. Is it worth it? 7. Freedom isn't the absence of problems. Freedom is problems no longer having the power to control your emotional state. These aren't just concepts, these are operational laws of the quantum field. And when you internalize them, when you live them, you stop being a victim of circumstance and become an architect of reality. Here's what I see happening in your life over the next 90 days if you commit to this. You'll notice certain people starting to fall away, not because you cut them off, but because the resonance is gone. You'll find solutions appearing for problems that seemed impossible, not because you tried harder, but because you stopped forcing. You'll experience moments of profound peace in situations that used to destroy you. And in those moments, you'll realize something stunning. The problem was never the problem. Your reaction to the problem was the problem, and you just took your power back. That's the transformation. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of pendulum mastery. But here's the critical part most people miss, and this is where we need to go next. Before we close, I need to tell you something that might surprise you. Pendulums aren't the enemy. I know. I just spent 27 minutes teaching you how to extinguish them. But here's the nuance. Destructive pendulums are the enemy. Pendulums that impose alien goals on you. Pendulums that drain you. Those need to be extinguished. But there are also constructive pendulums. Pendulums that align with your actual goals. your real desires, the life track that brings you genuine success and happiness. And here's the final insight. Once you've freed yourself from the pendulums that were controlling you, your job isn't to avoid all pendulums forever. Your job is to consciously choose which pendulums to engage with, to use pendulums as tools rather than being used by them. Think about it. Every successful person, every thriving community, every powerful movement, they're all pendulums. But they're pendulums built on purpose, on alignment, on conscious choice. So the real question isn't, how do I avoid all pendulums? The real question is, which pendulums serve my actual goals? And that takes discernment. That takes knowing yourself deeply enough to distinguish between imposed goals and authentic ones. Between what society told you to want and what you actually want. Here's your action plan starting tomorrow. Every morning before the world rushes in with its demands and dramas, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Where am I giving energy unconsciously today? What pendulums am I habitually feeding? 2. What technique will I use when I feel the pull? Script breaking, Aikido response, positive visualization? 3. Which pendulums actually serve my goals? Where should I consciously engage? These 3 questions, asked daily, will rewire your entire relationship with energy, with conflict, with life itself. And here's what I want you to know. The people who understand this, the ones who've mastered pendulum awareness and frequency control, they're the ones operating at a completely different level. Not louder, not busier, just more effective, more powerful, more free. This is a practice, not a destination. You don't arrive at pendulum mastery and stop. You develop it, refine it, live it, and as you do, you'll start to see the invisible architecture of reality. The energy structures most people never notice. The frequencies that shape outcomes. The quantum field responding to your coherence. This is reality transurfing at its core. Not positive thinking, not manifestation techniques, but quantum field navigation. Conscious frequency selection. Deliberate reality creation. And here's something you need to know. This is video number 8 in the Reality Transurfing series. You now have the tools to extinguish pendulums and stop being a power source for the forces that drain you. But here's what I haven't told you yet. Extinguishing pendulums is only half the equation. It clears the space. It stops the drain. But what fills that space? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Freedom without direction is just emptiness. So here's my question. What if there's a structure in the quantum field that doesn't need your energy? A force that doesn't feed on you but actually feeds you? What if success and luck aren't random, but a wave you can catch and ride? Video number 9 is where we explore this. The mechanics of attracting success without effort. The art of staying on the wave when most people fall off. The reason why some people seem blessed while others struggle. If you're feeling a spark right now, hit that subscribe button. Drop one word in the comments that captures where you are right now, because you just learned how to stop the drain. But in video 9, you're going to learn how to open the floodgates. I'll see you there.